Hello. Good morning, people. I hope people are there. I'll wait a couple of minutes and see how many people have joined us this morning. This is the first one, the first Education Online Classroom Live, and it's really super exciting for me to be in my fantastic classroom, which is kind of my office, and being able to do the things that I love doing most, which is talking to people about eggs and hatching and chicks and chickens and all the fantastic rare breeds that are here at Education HQ. We are really happy to be able to do these kind of things because I really miss getting out and getting into the classroom and enjoying teaching everybody about things like this. But it's a great morning to be sitting inside for me, actually, and doing some teaching, because I don't know what it's like where you live. But it's pouring with rain here and it's really soggy. In fact, why don't we have a little look outside? So that's the view from the office window, and those little white blobs over there are my grey-faced Dartmoor sheep, who are slightly disgusted by the weather, to be honest. And just over to the left, they're the chicken sheds, so I can keep an eye on lots of things from the office window. And it is still raining, and I'm very glad to be sitting inside talking to you guys now. So let's go through what we're going to look at today. So today's all about eggs, so we're going to learn a little bit about the structure of eggs and what the egg's function is. If you've got any questions you'd like to ask at any point, if you just put those questions through on the live, they should pop up in front of me. If I don't notice them, if it's a great question and I don't notice it, just ask me again at some point later on in the feed and I'll try and get to it, because they do pop up, but I need to be looking at my screen to actually see them. So if you've got any questions you want to ask about anything that you can see, anything that I'm doing, if you want me to go over something again, if you've got if you're a teacher watching with your class and you've got a specific question that you want to ask about any of the processes or anything that I'm doing, please stick that in the Facebook live feed and I will try my best to get to them. What I have thought of, which is quite a good plan, because I love chicken fun facts, is if you want to have a little project at any point and you want to try and come up, I've got a little competition. See this very cute little chicken rucksack here. It's a bit difficult to see in the light. Let me move back a bit. A little chicken rucksack. So this is going to be the prize for the, and we're going to say child, because I know your adults can come up with some fun facts. For the best chicken fun fact, I'm not going to give it out today because we've got next week, we're going to be looking at candling the eggs. The week after, we're going to be looking, possibly if the weather's nice, we will go and have a trip around the chickens down the bottom. And then what we're going to be looking at is hatching. Also on hatching day, which is Wednesday the 10th of February, because the web can be running all day when the eggs hatch, we'll give out the prize for the best, I can't see it very well, the best chicken fun fact, which is this really little chicken rucksack, and I might even put some chocolate eggs in it if I haven't eaten them all by that point. So what we're going to look at today is, again, eggs, but things have worked out quite nicely. I've got a little bit of an excitement. I don't know if you watched on Monday when I did I just did a little introductory video and I put it out on our Facebook page, and there were 4 eggs that had just pipped, and we'll talk about that when we come to talk about hatching. And the eggs that had pipped means that the chick had made a little tiny hole in the shell and was kind of on their way. You could hear them tweeting. There were 4 little eggs in the incubator on my desk, and by lunchtime 2 of them had hatched, and by yesterday morning the other 2 eggs had hatched. So those little babies are due to come out of the incubator and into the cage, and I thought that might be a really nice thing for us to do to start off with, is have a little bit chat about those chicks. So I'm just going to pick my little camera up here. It's highly professional. Okay, and we're going to go over to the incubator over here. I don't know if you can see those. So those are the little babies that hatched the other day. So these 2 little brown ones hatched on Monday, and the Andalusians, which the other ones hatched through into Tuesday morning. And I always leave my chicks in the incubator 24 to 48 hours. And it might sound like an awful long time, because when mammal babies are born, they need to kind of drink milk and get up and and get going straight away. But these little guys, nature's really amazing, and we're going to talk about egg yolk in a minute, because when they hatch, and again we'll do this in another lesson another week, their bellies are completely full of egg yolk, so they kind of hatch with a full tummy, and so they don't need to eat or drink for 48 hours after they've hatched. And the reason for that is, I suppose, if you think about mum sitting on the nest, she's not going to get off those eggs until all her babies have hatched and they're dry and they're fluffy. And it can take 48 hours between the first and last one hatching. So if she got off the nest and took the first chicks to feed, then the rest of the eggs wouldn't hatch. So nature being the wonderful thing that it is, these have evolved to be self-sufficient for at least 48 hours after they've hatched. But it's time for them to come out now. So I've always wanted to say, here's one I prepared earlier, but here is a cage I prepared earlier. So if we just make sure that you can actually see, because I'm down here now. So here's the cage that I've got ready, and what we've got in here is we've got a water bottle and a little bowl of water, because sometimes they don't get the hang of the water bottle straight away. It's a bowl of food, and this is something that we call a heat plate or an electric hen. You can see it's plugged in. It's got a little light on at the top there, and this underneath surface here, if I can, there we go, that's warm, so the heat radiates out of that and the chicks go underneath like they would with mum. Okay, so I'm just going to get the camera set up on this little stool here. I don't really want to see my filing cabinet. Okay, and see if we can't get that angle down into there. So that's you looking into the cage. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug this incubator now, because it doesn't need to be switched on anymore. There's no more eggs to hatch. And then I'm going to fetch it down here next to the cage without breaking anything. Okay, so I've got the incubator down here now, and then all I'm going to do, there's the incubator on the floor there, so I'm just going to put the camera right, and then I'm going to get these babies out. Now they're probably going to dash. Here we go, babies. So, oh dear me, because like that's not cute, is it? So these two are Welbar bantams, and they're both girls, and I'll explain that in a minute. And these two are really rare Andalusian bantams, and luckily for me they're both blue, which is the colour that we always want them to be. So they are pretty stunning. Oh, I think you'll find that's a whole load of cute there, isn't it? I think that's enough for today, really. Whole load of cute. That's all we need. So I'm going to pop them in there. The Anda bantams have gone in. I'll just explain a little bit. We're going to do this later, actually. I don't know if you can see this marking. Let me get them in front of the camera. That's, we call that chipmunk stripe. So it looks a bit like a chipmunk back. And that tells me that these two are girls. And we'll have a look at that in a little bit. So those are both Welbar bantams. And I'm just going to pop them in. And I'm just going to dip their beaks in the water so they know where it is. Oh, yeah, that's water. That's good stuff for you. That one. There we go. You usually don't have to do this with all the chicks, because once one of them has sussed it, they get round to doing it. And here's some food. If you can see them. Oh, having a little try of some food there. Ooh, not very good with this camera work. Hard professional. Okay. And when they get cold, they'll go underneath the heat plate over there for a warm up. But yeah, they're very, very sweet, and it's very exciting because they're the first chicks to hatch in 2021 here at HQ. A little test hatch. I always test fertility, but again, something we'll talk about. But before, we will come back to them because I know it's a whole bucket of cute. I'm not quite sure how well focused the camera is, but we'll look at that in a minute. These are the empty eggshells that the chicks have come out of. You can see where they've unzipped their way out, pecking the way out of that eggshell. Okay, and you can see there's two brown ones and there's two white ones there. Now the Andalusian bantams, the little
bluey, I know they look grey, but we call it blue. Chicks have come out of these white shells, and the well bars have come out of these brown shells. Still being very cute. And I don't know if you can see really that obviously there's different shell colours here. That's the membrane inside, that's all dried up now. Okay, but if we peel that off and we look at the shell, can you see that that white shell is white all the way through? So it's white on the inside, white on the outside. The structure of it's actually white. And if I pick up the brown egg, let's peel that membrane out of there. Okay, it's all dry and crispy now because it's been in the nice warm incubator. If I pick that membrane out and just break a piece of the shell off, I don't know if you can see that the shell is brown on the outside and white on the inside. You can see that? So this white bit is the inside of the egg. This is the outside, and that's because in chickens there's only actually two eggshell colours, white and blue. Okay, so this one, the white egg layer, that's a white shell, clearly. But this is also a white shell, and the reason why it's got brown on it is because as the egg is being produced inside the female, inside the hen, just before it gets laid, she puts this layer of, kind of like painting the outside of the egg really. It's a layer of pigment, and the pigment is like a dye that goes on the outside of the shell to make it go brown. So this hen has got the same genetics or the same code for white shell as this one, but the Andalusian just doesn't put a coating on the outside, whereas this one does put a coating on the outside, which actually makes things quite exciting if you talk about blue shells. So we'll go and have a look at the eggs that are on my desk, okay, because we've got some blue eggs there, but we need to try and remember about this brown one being white on the inside because it's quite important really. So we'll go and have a look up here. Okay, so what we've got on the desk here is a nice little basket of eggs. Okay, and these are the colours that my hens lay. So we've got like a speckledy brown one, that's from a well bar. We've got a blue one, that's from a cream leg bar. Again, more Andalusian eggs. A really nice big brown one, because that's from a crowed Langston. We'll talk about them in a minute. Okay, and that's from a bantam. So you can see the difference in egg sizes. Okay, so this is from a large fowl bird, and my crowds are very big, and this is from a well bar bantam, and we're gonna meet those in a bit as well. Okay, so we've got all different colours, and this is kind of like, I don't know if you can see on the camera, it doesn't come off very well. This is like a pinkish egg. Okay, so crowed Langstons, you can see, I don't know if you see the difference between the two. Crowed Langstons are supposed to lay an egg with a blush on the surface, which make it pinkish. Some of them do, some of them don't. Okay, so what we've got then is different eggshell colours here. So as I said to you before, chickens either lay a white shell egg or a blue shelled egg. This is a white egg with a brown coating on. This is a white egg with a brown coating and spots. A little bit different. The great thing is, and I'm doing that this summer, is if I cross a hen that lays a blue shelled egg with another breed that lays a brown shelled egg, what we have is a blue shell, and as the egg's being produced, that blue shell has a brown coating put on it, and guess what colour that egg's going to be? So if you mix blue and brown paint together, what do you get? You get green. So we get green or nice olive green eggs, sometimes quite like an army khaki coloured egg, sometimes more of a pea green egg, but that's how you get the green eggs. So white shells and blue shells, different types of coating on the surface here, spotty coating, just a brown one or a pinkish one. So if I cross these two together, I'll end up with green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam, I am. Okay, which is a classic. But green eggs, you can get green eggs. Okay, so that's a little bit about shell colour. So we're going to have a little look now at the structures of an egg. Now everybody knows what eggs are for. Eggs are for baking.
dipping soldiers in, scrambling, frying. But eggs in reality are for hens to produce babies, produce chicks. Okay, so we're going to look a little bit, that one's died a bit, at some broken eggs that I've got here. So I've got 3 eggs that I've broken on my desk. Okay, now this one's a nice one to look at because you can see that what we've got in the middle is the yolk, and this runny stuff is the bit we call the egg white, and I reckon we'll probably call it egg white because when it's cooked it goes white, doesn't it? It changes, the proteins in it change and it goes white. Okay, so there's the reason for this, okay, is this, don't forget that this egg, although it's great for eating and doing all the baking things that we do, the egg is designed to produce a chick, and that chick is sitting inside that egg for 3 weeks. Okay, and the only way it can get food and nourishment or water, whatever, it's got to be in that egg to start off with. Now the shell of an egg is porous, and that means that although we can't see them, there are some little tiny holes in that egg, and through that, those little tiny holes, oxygen, which is what the little chick needs, okay, can diffuse, can pass through, and the gases that the chick doesn't want can get out again. Okay, so that allows gas to come in and out, but doesn't allow food, etc., or water or minerals or vitamins to come in and out. So everything that these guys, oh, they've gone under the heat plate now, these guys needed to turn from just an egg to a chick has to be in there already. And egg white is really full of protein, that's why it makes it such a good food. And egg yolk, again, full of proteins, vitamins, essential things like that, and fats for energy. Okay, so there's lots, that's why I guess they're such good food for us, because everything that's in there is designed to grow that healthy chick. Okay, if we just actually have a little look, I'll just put my camera down a minute, at this shell here. So this was the well bar egg, all right, and if we have a look at it again, can you see that membrane that's inside? That was all dry before, it's all soft and floppy. Okay, and then if we look at the bottom of the egg, you can you see that little, looks like a little bubble? Okay, and that little bubble at the bottom of the egg there, that bubble is called the air sac. Okay, and you can see it probably moving a little bit. Have a look at that next time you break an egg, have a look for the air sac inside. And whilst the egg is being incubated either under a broody hen or in the incubator, that air sac's going to get bigger. Okay, because although I was telling you that the shell allows gases in and out, it also allows some water to escape, to evaporate from that egg. So during incubation, okay, water evaporates from the egg, and this air sac actually gets bigger and bigger. And we'll have a look at that when we do some candling next week. We'll look at the size of the air sac. These are all pretty fresh eggs, okay, laid in the last week. And that's the little air sac, and that gets bigger and bigger. As the contents dry out, the air space gets bigger. So that's a really important thing. Let me just have a look in this blue egg here. If you can see the air sac, yeah, you can see the air sac in that one. Again, about the same size, quite small. Have a look at this brown one, the white one, sorry, possibly a little bit smaller in there. That might be an even fresher egg. So that's the air sac at the bottom. Okay, so let's have just a quick look at the structures in an egg. Okay, so what we've just been looking at there, that was the membrane around the outside that I peeled off. Okay, here's the yolk in the middle, and there's these funny bits. If you ever look when you break an egg, these are called the anchors. Okay, and next time you break an egg, have a little look and see if you can see. I'm going to try and show you now. Hang on. Which one's got one on? A little cloudy bit at the end.
I might just have to refocus my camera. Hang on a minute. Let me put that there. Refocus the camera. There, there's a little cloudy bit of white, alright, at each end. And there it is on this one here. And that's the anchors. They're the anchors that hold. You see that there? You need to break an egg at home, kids. That's the anchors that hold the let's look at this again. They're the anchors that hold the yolk, which is really important, either end of the egg. Okay, so there's your airspace there that I was talking to you about before, and these are the anchors either end. So they hold the yolk in the middle because the yolk is where the chick's going to grow. So the chick is going to start forming on the outside of this yolk. Okay, and what we're going to have a look at next week, actually, we're going to have a look at that air sac in more detail. In fact, I'll show you the candler now. 2 minutes. So this over here, complicated setup. This is my candler. Okay, because obviously when we're candling egg, I normally do it in the dark, but I'm not going to be teaching you in the dark. And in there's an egg. Can you see there's a bright light underneath that? Okay, so pop the egg on there, and you can see, I don't know if you can see, it's slightly more orangey at the top. It depends on the light in the camera. So that's the yolk at the top. Right, and what we'll be doing next week when we candle these eggs, that's an image from down the, that's the image from down the actual candler. Okay, so that's what the egg looks like inside. And we'll be able to look at all the structures a little bit better when we look at that next week. Okay, so let's go back to that little sheet again. So we've got a membrane inside the egg, we've got the yolk, and we've got these little anchors, and we've got the air sac. So that's really good looking at the structure of the egg. We know what an egg's for, we know why it's full of protein, we know that it's good for hatching chicks, but I'm sure you all know that the eggs you buy in the supermarket, no matter how long you put them in the incubator for, aren't going to turn into chicks. So we're going to look at how I can actually tell if an egg's fertile. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the camera. So these 3 eggs, okay, I've already looked at this morning to see if they're fertile. But what we're going to do just for a little minute, I'm hoping this works, is watch just a little video. Okay, and this little video is something that we're going to be looking at a lot. Okay, put that back up there because it's going to explain an awful lot of stuff to us. Okay, so I'm only going to be playing you 14 seconds of this video, but I will watch the rest another time. Okay, so this is a video produced by the Poultry Commission of Australia. Okay, and it's looking at development of the chick embryo. So that's an important thing. Okay, it takes 21 days for an egg to turn into a chick in the incubator or under a broody hen. That's the incubation time of a chicken egg. Ducks is 28, geese are 28, but chickens are 21 days. And this word here, embryo, that's a word to describe the little developing chick inside the egg. Okay, so anything before it hatches is called an embryo. So you probably hear that word a little bit. So that as that embryo develops, okay, it's going to get more features, and we're going to be looking at that in more detail. I'm just going to play a little bit further, just 14 seconds, then I'm going to be mean and stop it. Right, there we go. So this is our yolk that we've looked at before, and on the surface of the yolk there's this something that they're calling a germinal disc. We don't need to worry about that too much, but can you see there's like a creamy coloured circle, and in the middle is like a little creamy coloured dot, and there's a slightly more orangey bit there, and if you squint at it a little bit and go back, it looks a little bit like a bullseye, and that's what we call it. Now that would tell me, if I could see that on the surface of an egg, that would tell me that that was a fertile egg, that if I put that egg in an incubator, it would probably have turned into a chick. Okay, so if we just come back to me a minute, okay, and we'll look at these eggs that I've got here. Now it's not super easy with this camera, and I did have to mess around with the focus earlier using a humble pencil, but we'll give it a go, because these 3 eggs here 2 of them are fertile, or would have been fertile, and 1 of them not, I think. So we're going to look at the one that's, I think, relatively simple, but I might need to do a bit of focusing. So I don't know if you can see yet. I need to do a bit of focusing. I'm just going to put my pencil up to use them to focus onto. Focus the camera on this one way. It's a little bit tricky. There we go. I think that's the best I'm going to get. I don't know if you can see on the surface of this egg here. There's a little patch there. It's just the light, isn't it? There's a little, exactly the same as that image that we just saw. Okay. So there's a little bullseye. Again, it's not brilliant with the light on the surface of this egg. Okay. And that means that this egg has come from a pen of birds that if I put them in the incubator, that would have developed into a chick. Okay. If we look at this egg here, again, I'll try and focus the camera a little bit more. It's not high tech, I'm afraid. It's the way we roll. Okay. There's just here a little white dot. Okay, and that little white dot is not the same as the other one. Okay, so this one had the bullseye. Let's have a look at that image again. So the well-bar egg had this bullseye with a circle on the outside and then one in the middle. The whole thing's a bit bigger, whereas the cream leg bar egg just had a little dot there, which tells me that if I put that in the incubator, that wouldn't have turned into a chick. This one, to be honest, wasn't quite sure about this morning. Okay, let me see if I can. There's the little dot on the surface. I need to switch back to the camera. That would make more sense, Deborah. So I think that one probably was fertile because I can just about see around the outside another ring round there. Okay, so that's something that I do early on in the season if I'm wanting to find out if it's worth putting eggs in the incubator. I'll have to really change the focus. There's no point putting eggs in the incubator if they're not going to hatch. It's a waste otherwise. Okay, so we've looked at the structure of an egg and we've looked a little bit about how I can tell if they're fertile. So I'm going to show you the eggs that we're going to put in the incubator today, and there are a lot of them. Okay, that's just one tray, and I'm just going to pick some up and show you them. Okay, so this is a cream leg bar egg, and I don't know if you can see there's a number on the top of that one. Okay, and that tells me which pen it's came out of. I've got 3 pens of those, and that tells me which one it's come out of. Okay, and the same with this one. That's an Andalusian egg. So we'll look at the eggs, and we'll look a little. I'll put the camera down there. Okay, and we'll look a little bit about them. So cream leg bars then. That's what the cream leg bar boys look like. That's one of my boys, and that's what the cream leg bar girls look like. And this is what their eggs look like. They've got the lovely blue eggs. Everybody loves them. People are very popular. Okay, that one's got a number 1 on the top. Have I got number 2 anywhere? There we go. Pen 2. So these are out of 3 different breeding pens, and then when I can hatch them, I can see who the parents were and see what the quality's like for people. Okay, and then the other ones I've got here, which are auto-sexing breeds. These are well-bar eggs. All right, so they are from a little bantam. Can you see how they're smaller? All right, that's quite a little one, quite little eggs. And I'll show you what they look like. So this is one of my well-bar boys. That was Wolf, the well-bar. As you can see, champion chicken. And that's what the girls look like. Okay. Now all these ones, so the cream leg bars, boys, girls, well-bar boy, well-bar girl, are a breed called auto-sexing chickens. There we go. That's the name of our association. And the reason why is because you can tell whether they're boys or girls as soon as they hatch. Okay, so these are girls. Remember that chipmunk stripe I showed you in my chicks in the brooder? And these are boys. They're much paler and it looks like they've kind of washed out colour. The colour's not as determined. So these are the girls that are in my brooder, and these are boys. There aren't any boys hatched this time. And we've got one more breed of eggs here. Beautiful birds, and these are the white eggs. Okay, and if we have a look here, that's an Andalusian bantam egg. Okay, and it's got AB1 written on the top because I've got 3 pens of these again, and I want to know again who the parents are with these. A bit like when you're doing any pedigree breeding, you need to know the parents of them. So all those eggs then are going to go into the incubator, and they're going to get going and hopefully be hatching in 3 weeks' time when you guys are all watching. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move the whole show to the back of the office. So I'm not going to drop anything. Hang on, take you with me. Okay, I'm just going to get a little stool to put the camera on so you can see what I'm doing. So that's the incubator there. That's the big cabinet. And maybe that there. Okay, so I'll get you off the floor, up a little bit. So that's the big cabinet incubator at the back of the office. And we've got 2 of these, and these are the ones that incubate all our eggs for the schools and the shows. So if we open the door, it looks like a bit like a big fridge. Put the light on. I don't know if you can see inside that there's some eggs in there already, and in these big trays. And it's at an angle because there's a motor here which is turning the eggs like this, and there's a fan there which is blowing the warm air to keep the temperature constant in the incubator. It'll be fine just to open it for a minute to put the eggs in. So what I'm going to do is level it up, take out the tray. I'm going to put the eggs in, play with that for a minute, and then we're going to put all these eggs here are going to go into the incubator, which is very exciting. So if I put that down like that, you can see the tray. So basically all I'm going to do is fill up the trays. I tend to put the same breeds in the same place. These eggs have had a little bit of a wash. They've been treated with something to kill any bacteria that might be on the surface of the eggs. Put the cream leg bars in. This is what I spend a lot of my time doing at this time of year, loading up the incubators. I'm trying to put all the eggs from the same pen in the same place. So all the 2s together, all the 3s together, etc. It's not going 100% well at the moment, but job's a good one. Okay. So this is all the blue ones in pretty much. So these are all the cream leg bars. And again, these are the ones I'm going to be able to tell if they're boys or girls when they hatch. Some Andalusians. Again, very pretty. There we go. Nearly there. Probably not going to have enough room in these trays for all these. Let's see if we can fit them in. Right, now the little ones. Little Welbar bantams. We're going to meet Missy the Welbar next week. She's going to make an appearance. She's just a bit too soggy this morning. So as you can imagine, there's going to be a lot of chicks hatching on Wednesday the 10th. I'm not expecting all these eggs to have chicks in them, but we're going to do that next week. I've got a bit of space. I'm just going to go and get some more eggs to fill it up. Okay, so it's quite heavy now. Those away. So these guys are going to go in the incubator, and because I'm quite busy, I have to write myself notes. So today is Wednesday, 20th jam. Just rip myself a little sticker. And that goes on the tray, so I know when I set those eggs. Otherwise it's very easy, because there's another cabinet there. It's very easy with all these eggs going in to lose track of what's due when. Okay, so it's quite heavy that now. And the last thing I want to do, especially for you guys, is drop them all. That's going to go in. Pop that door open. There we go. Okay, so slides in there. Okay, and then I'm going to click the turner back on, or the Tina as it's known in this house. Switch the light off. So that noise is the mechanism that's going to turn the trays. Okay, and they're going to rock those. So what we're going to be able to do, I'll turn it off now. Close the door, and over the next couple of hours, those eggs will come up to temperature. I would show you the display on the incubator, but I tried it and it doesn't stand out in the camera. So that's 37.6 degrees. Okay, and they will be incubating at 37.6 now for 21 days. Noisy chick. Okay, what's the matter? What's the matter? Do you have something to say? The little chick can stay with me for a minute. So I'll be incubating those for 21 days. And once they've finished incubation, then they'll turn into little chicks on the 10th. But next week, next Wednesday morning, we're going to take that tray of eggs out the incubator. We're going to candle them in the candler, and you should be able to see through the shell with the bright light the little chicks jumping around inside the egg, which is a really cute session. Okay, and we'll be able to see also how big these guys have got. All right, you can see he's just shouting now, but just a little ball of fluffy down. And by next week, this little guy will have wing feathers and probably be, if you remember how big he is now, probably be twice as big as this with his little friends. I'll go and get one of the other ones. In fact, well, let's go and have another little look at them before we finish. We've been on 10 minutes longer than I expected, but never mind. Time flies when you're having fun. There they all are. Let's get a little under. Come here, pumpkin. Oh, you see. That's pretty cute. I know that's all you want to do today is look at little chicks. But there's going to be a whole lot of this going on. So we're going to be monitoring the progress of these guys over the next 4 weeks. We'll see how they've grown. See what little terrors they're turning into. We'll have Missy the classroom chicken in here with us next week. Okay. And I hope you've enjoyed joining me. I really enjoyed actually sharing what I love to do. And if you've enjoyed the lesson and you want to help to contribute to the conservation work that I'm doing here with the rare breeds, there's a GoFundMe link pinned to the top of the page, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week.